My instrument will not be in tune for a while.
Yeah.
What's that colorful thing?
Oh, just a nice little sound effect.
Did you
Made
make it or something?
No, there's a craftsman in Brazil who rescues these out of the ocean and the bay
Ah,
in Rio and turns them into
that's
nice
cool. Did you
sounds. Yeah.
go to Rio to buy it?
Yeah, I'm Brazilian. Most of my
Oh, you
family's
are
still in Rio.
Oh,
Yeah, so
really?
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's nice.
You
Like,
know what I did this summer? I went to play choro, Brazilian choro.
really?
Yes, I did it.
Choro.
Well, not in Brazil though. I did it in Massachusetts. It's a choro camp.
Yeah, I've
But
heard of
all the
this.
teachers were Brazilian.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Was Vitor there? Vitor
Yes, yes,
Gonçalves?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. That's great, man. Oh, what a sweetheart. Yeah, those guys are
They
amazing.
all
I grew up.
really
Shoto is like one of my like home base musical
Yeah, that's very
traditions.
cool. I love to. Unfortunately, I don't know here like gig scene for it. Maybe there is, but I don't know.
It's
Also,
not
nobody would think
huge.
to invite me to play it because like I'm not Brazilian. They wouldn't know that I can do it.
In Brazil, nobody cares. That's really the
No, not
the-
that somebody cares here. It's just they wouldn't think of
Oh,
me
oh
as
yeah,
the one that
sure.
would be able to do it.
Well, it's funny. It's funny because I had a lecture and concert of Shoto music that I was putting on at Georgetown last year.
Really?
And I called Matvey because I was like, dude, you know these tunes. He was like, I don't think I do, but then he looks at them. He's like, oh, this, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And he just because a lot of it bandoline like ends up
Right.
handling so much of it.
Right.
It's the same instrument. It's just
Yeah.
different interface
Right.
with the
Of course, when you go to the camp and study, you
Yeah.
see it a little bit differently. It's not just a notes on the page.
Beepy Beepy is like the really famous Shoto like sort of. It's just a bar, but it's like where the Shoto musicians hang out in Rio.
Is it
One of
here?
the many places. No, 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 in Rio. But it's like 4 blocks from my grandmother's apartment. So I grew up when I was a kid. I would go and like it'd be like
You live in the city?
yeah, yeah, nearby, over in Bethesda. So, but it's funny. I grew up playing pandero. Pandero was like
Oh my
home
gosh.
base for
There
me.
was such a funny lady that was teaching pandero.
Oh, was it Amy?
What was her name? No, I don't think her name was Amy. She was very cool and had such a sense of humor. Um, there were one second. The girl that played the small
Oh, cavaco or
yeah,
bandoline. Yeah, cavaquinho. Yeah.
Cavaquinho was the wife of the guy that lives in New York. I forgot all the names now. But, the husband and wife. He's like the guy.
Got it. Yeah,
He
yeah. I
was
can't
doing it.
remember everybody's name.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
probably know them. And then there was this girl, this woman from Brazil that was doing the pandero. Everybody loved her. She had such a sense of
Was
humor.
it Larissa Umaita? She no. Okay.
If I look up, I will
Yeah.
see
Oh
that.
man, I would love
And
to know
also
who
you
was
can,
doing it.
so you can just look up on the Shoro
Yeah, yeah.
Camp New England.
Shoto Camp New England.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
I
where
gotta look it up because I can
Shoro.
see it's not a huge scene.
No.
But I would love
It
to.
was actually pretty small camp. They have this same person who organizes this. He has another one, Django in June, which is now
Oh, I've heard of
blew
that.
up.
Yeah.
It's now so crowded. That's why I didn't go. I used to go there every year, but this time I went to Shoro because Shoro is smaller.
Yeah. Oh, that's
And
great.
also, I kind of thought that was too bad.
Yeah, totally. It's
Genga?
Huh?
Genga?
yeah, Ginga. Yeah.
What's a
hmm
ginga?
He's a composer and
Oh.
musician.
So, like, the most amazing choro. It is
Really
so
cool.
intricate.
So
It
cool.
looks small.
Yeah.
I always have to, like,
Well, sometimes we played shoros, but we didn't think of the composer, I have to say. They were like, play this.
Okay.
Did you find it?
Oh, there's a few people that I don't recognize at all. That's funny. I don't know this
Oh,
guy.
this guy. Oh, but he looks very different now. He cut his hair. He's in New York.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Shabbat Shalom.
What? Oh. So Shabbat Shalom. It is wonderful to see everyone. We are experiencing technical difficulties. Fortunately, not in here. Nope, we're good. It's good to know because I want to welcome not just those of you who are seated here at the Julia Bindeman Suburban Center, but also those who are joining us on our live stream. And that's what I was not sure about a minute ago. They were not.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, no.
That's what we were doing.
Well, welcome.
So welcome, everyone. And we have this evening, as we'll join together. I'm Rabbi Shankman, Cantor Bortnick. We're delighted to be here with all of you, and you'll get to know each other in just a moment, but we want to just make sure everyone has picked up a Mishkan Tefillah Siddur, a prayer book, and inside is a card that has the outline of the service on one side and a couple of the songs that we'll be singing, a couple of the words to some of those songs on the other. And we'll be using that. We try not to keep interrupting with the page numbers, although it's old habit, but we just follow along with what is on that prayer card.
And joining us on the bima tonight on violin, we have Christine, and on bass, we have Daniel, and on percussion, we have Lucas, and we welcome them and thank them for being with us tonight.
And we thank all of you for being here as well. And we're going to take just a few moments because we'll hear each other's voices throughout the service. You may know some of the people seated near you. You may be related to some of them. But we want you to take a moment so that you can meet others seated near you as well. So we invite you to introduce yourself to one another, to someone, again, that you may not already know or who's seated behind you or in front of you. Share your name, where you are from, and also share an answer. Wait, not yet. Because you need to know what the question is. You're also going to share, you're going to answer the question of what is your favorite taste of fall? Your favorite taste of fall. Taste. Favorite taste of fall.
I know. I think for me, yeah, it's my spiced pumpkin pie. Yeah. My daughter just made pumpkin cookies, and they were delicious. Delicious. Yes. Yeah, pumpkin's good. Also butternut squash. Also, like chili, warm food, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
The maple stomach.
Yeah.
It's unavoidable once you know.
Yeah. Thanks for going in at the last minute. I appreciate it.
But that's always how you know it's actually officially fall. Is when Starbucks comes out with some pumpkin.
Yeah.
Although they always, it seems like they come out earlier and earlier.
All right. Well, now that we have gotten to know each other a little bit better, who did not say pumpkin, by the way? Oh, so very few hands, a lot of pumpkin apparently. Okay, so we are going to continue our service as we join together in the Psalms that we recite that help us to increase our joy so that by the time we get to our call to worship, we are ready to rise and praise God. So we join together on page 12 as we join together in Lechu Neranena. Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena. Adonai.
Turn to page 17, and we look to the bottom of the Hebrew, towards the bottom of the Hebrew, maybe about 6 lines up, and also the last few lines. And we rejoice, we exalt God. Centerpiece of our Kabbalat Shabbat service, Lecha Dodi, is our prayer that welcomes Shabbat. It is traditional in the hills of Tzfat, the city in Israel in which this acrostic poem was first written. It's customary to go out into the fields to physically welcome Shabbat in the way that we would welcome perhaps someone we have not seen in a long time, perhaps whether a friend or family member, a loved one, someone significant to us. It is how we greet Shabbat. It is the presence of Shabbat that we're welcoming. And so we will, when we get to the final verse, we'll rise together to welcome Shabbat and anyone who happens to walk in the door at that time, not at this moment, but later on, because it's inevitable. Just as we know that in our lives there are those moments that are unexpected. So whether we're expecting someone to walk in or not, we are expecting Shabbat to come. It's automatic. It happens at this time every Friday. And so when we rise to welcome Shabbat, we'll turn and face the doorway. We'll give smiles to whoever happens to walk in at that moment. And then we'll turn around to remain standing, right? As we'll remain standing into our Baruch Hu, our call to worship. So we welcome Shabbat with everything, from our hearts, our souls, our voices, and then our bodies when we rise. At the end of verse 9, we're doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
We continue as we turn to page 28. Ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la la. Adonai, Amen. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night.
This is an hour of change. Within it, we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it, we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over?
Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night.
Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. We continue on page 36 as we join together in the chanting of V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom halevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'v'lechtecha b'derech u'v'shochbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam liyot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot ben einecha וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם. As we turn to page 40, we come to our prayer of freedom, Mi Chamocha. We continue as we turn to page 44 for Vishamru. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asor et HaShabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat. If you two would like to dance, go right ahead. Asor et HaShabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Hashemayim ve'ataretz Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asor et HaShabbat l'dorotam berit olam. U'bayom ha'shevi Shabbat vayinapash. U'bayom ha'shevi Shabbat vayinapash. L'dorotam berit olam, l'dorotam berit olam, l'dorotam berit olam. So when we're doing Tat Shabbat or Shabbat Sing with the little kids and we tell them they can get up and dance, they literally get up and run around the room. So jazz hands is, for those of you watching online, there was a whole front row of jazz hands every time we did Vishamru. So you are welcome to continue with jazz hands or running around the room, whatever your heart desires. A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat has arrived in the world, scattering the song in the silence of the night, and eternity utters a day. Eternity utters a day. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la la la. Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo B'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah. As we go into the Giverot, this is the first week of the winter insert. So on Monday we switched from the summer insert to the winter insert. So we'll be doing Mashiv Harach Umarid Hagasham all the way until the first day of Passover. Ata gibor leolam Adonai, mechaye hakol ata rav lehoshia, mashiv haruach umorid hagashem, mechalkel chayim v'chesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim v'rofeh cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar, michamocha ba'gevurot, umidom elach, melech memit umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, B'ne'eman atah lachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
We turn to the top of page 55. We join together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
Sorry.
And we take a moment now as we turn to page 58. We find our hoda'ah. It is our prayer of thanksgiving. And we take time, as we often do, to express our gratitude, to think about the things that have happened in the past week, or perhaps since the last time you were at services, or perhaps in this new year that is only, I can't do the math, if it's 20 days old?
10,
No, it's more.
15, 16,
She's going to do the math.
19. 19,
Okay.
real close, yeah.
Accounting major, history major.
Oh, 10 plus 5.
Yeah. Anyway, I was trying to do that, but I couldn't do it quickly enough. And we take the time to think about the joys in our life. Now, these can be big things, and we know that there are some here who are celebrating things that are special, big moments. And they can be ordinary things, small achievements. And we know that every week is different, every day is different, and that sometimes we are expressing our gratitude for the big simchas, those big moments that we get to share with our community, and sometimes it's those small achievements and accomplishments. When we are feeling that joy inside, and this is that moment when we get to share that joy and that moment with others. So as I don't even have to look around, but if you have a simcha, a joy, a happiness you want to share, I invite you to just raise your hand, and we'll look forward to hearing. Yes. Mazel tov, an anniversary.
For those of you online, a 4th anniversary.
Fourth wedding anniversary. You've been together
We
longer
figured
than
that
but
that
yeah.
was what you
Well,
meant,
we
but
did because
we
we
did
know,
because
but
we know.
for
That's true.
others, fourth wedding anniversary.
And the second one, I babysat him in Pittsburgh when he was a newborn, and now they
Wonderful. So family, friends and family and former babysittees coming and babysitters coming together and being reunited for Shabbat and for that wonderful blessing of being with people you've known a long time and who remember you when. So, yes.
This lady and I have been married 44 years next
4444
Friday.
years. And we know there's been lots of laughter along the way. As there
And a
continues
daughter
to be.
coming home to celebrate with you?
No.
Oh, no?
Far away. And, but just one of the many joys of the years together. Yes.
Oh,
losing a first tooth. That is a
While biting into a cookie,
Well,
even better.
yes.
Like, what a sweet
Wow.
memory.
mazel tov on that. And
That's super exciting. Do you still have the tooth? She didn't swallow it, right? You still have it? No, we found it on the floor. Oh, perfect. Excellent.
That's
I almost
very,
lost
that's
her
very
first
exciting.
tooth. We were at a restaurant.
And that was her first touch about here, correct? That is an
Oh.
auspicious sign. We'll
Wow.
talk later, Lisa. And I will say a small simcha, but after not seeing each other for many, many years, knowing each other from Camp Eisner many years ago, wonderful to see you and have you be here.
Ooh.
102nd birthday with your aunt. Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Wonderful that you could be together for that too.
I have one because I know she won't say it. So my daughter had her first bat mitzvah rehearsal on Tuesday, which was a lot of fun for both of us. Yeah, it really was fun actually for me. I don't know about the whole
Elia will
progress
tell-
getting there, but no, I'm just kidding. It was actually.
Elia will tell us later, right?
If it was fun.
And
Oh,
certainly,
She got to open the
you
ark in the
brought,
sanctuary. Like, who doesn't have fun doing
yes,
that?
you brought simcha to us with your beautiful voice this evening. And I will just remind everyone, or if you didn't already know, and for those of you who are joining us on the live stream, Elia will become bat mitzvah in 3 weeks from tomorrow. And you're all included and invited, and we hope that you'll join because we know that she's going to continue to raise that beautiful, beautiful voice. Any other simchas? Well, we turn together.
Oh, wait, one in the very back.
Yes, she is. Yeah, so a daughter getting married on Sunday and a soon-to-be son-in-law officially. And they'll be up here in just a little while. We'll all be able to share in the joy of that moment. So, Modim anachnu lach, we are so grateful for all of these joys, these wonderful moments. And so we turn to the bottom of page 58 and we join together in the Chatima, the blessing at the end. Baruch atah Adonai, hato shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot.
And as we celebrate our simchas, we look forward to asking for more peace, because this world and the more peace, the better, and let peace always be this pleasant and this nice, right? It feels really good. I don't know about you, for you at home, but here it feels very calm. Maybe it's because no lights are on except for the ones by the camera, but
it may also be Rabbi and Cantor in the week following all of the high
well,
holidays,
that's true, too.
which officially ended. We should have shared that, Simcha.
oh yeah.
It's wonderful to be with everyone for all the holidays, and then we get to take a nice deep breath this week, and I'll invite you all to join us because we're feeling it. And that type of peace that we have just simply by being together for Shabbat. And we turn to the words of Shalom Rav on page 60.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tiatahu Melech Adon Lecho HaShalom. Tiatahu Melech Adon Shalom Rav Yisrael Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Tasim Le'olam. Baruch atah Adonai HaMevarech et Amo Yisrael b'shalom.
We know that there are times when we don't feel that sense of peace, whether it is emotionally, spiritually, physically, those times when we feel less than whole. And so we pause to recite a Mishaberach, a prayer of healing for those in our lives who are in need of healing, of body, of mind, or spirit. And as I look around the congregation, if you have a name of someone you would like to share aloud for a Mishaberach, I invite you to share that name aloud, or you can keep it privately to yourself. I also invite you, if you are on the live stream, to recite the names of your loved ones or friends who are in need of healing out loud. And also, we remind you, as always, and for those of you seated here, to also make sure to follow up with us, because occasionally we can't get every name down. They're not filed away. We're not writing them down at this moment. And we want to be able to support those in our community who are in need. And so we invite you to share aloud now, and then we'll join together on page 253 in our Mishaberach. We turn from our communal prayers, the prayers that we have heard out loud, the prayers that we've joined in together, the prayers that we share on the pages of our Siddur, of our prayer book. We turn from those fixed prayers to the prayers that do not have words, or at least not yet, because those are the prayers that only each one of us can write. And we know that there are times that there are prayers that lie too deep for words. And so for those prayers as well, we take the time now silently, independently, individually, to offer our own prayers, the words of our hearts to God as we pray silently. Torah tells us that at the end of creation, that God looked around and saw what God had made and said that it was. All right. So we've all read this book before. We're starting it all over again, actually. It's amazing, and we just actually started on Sunday right here in this spot. We finished reading the Torah, and we began it once again, and we begin with that story of creation. And the story is, the one that we read in the Torah, God said it was good. But there's a midrash that tells us that God says, this is a beautiful world that I've given you. Take care of it. Do not destroy it. Do not ruin it. Take care of it. The midrash actually teaches that this was not the first world that was created, that God created and destroyed many worlds until God created our world. And each one, God said, this is not quite right. When God got to this world and God created, God said, this is good. And God made human beings, Adam and Eve, and showed them the world. And God said, look at this beautiful world. I'm giving it to you. Hold it in trust. Take care of it, because this is the last world that I will make. Do not abuse it or destroy it. I'm done making worlds. If you ruin this one, there will be none to follow. I place it in your hands. Take good care of it. No pressure. Rabbi Mark Gelman is a master storyteller and tells a modern midrash, a story based on our Torah portion that describes our ongoing role in creation as human beings, our ongoing commitment, our ongoing responsibility. And some of us talked about responsibility during our few moments of Torah study just before the service. And according to this story, and this is actually, even if you read in the Torah, certainly a lot of the commentaries around it, that God was creating the world. And before God created the world, there was just God and a few angels and a huge swirling glob of rocks and water with no place to go. And the angels said to God, why don't you clean up this mess? Which is kind of a funny way of thinking about it, parents asking a child to clean up their room. And here it's the angels asking God to clean up the mess. And so God collected some rocks from over here and some huge swirling glob over there and put them together in clumps and said, so some of these clumps are going to be rocks, some of them are going to be planets, and some of these will just be stars over here, and some of them will just be rocks. And then God collected water from that huge swirling glob and put them together and created pools of water and said some of these pools of water will be oceans, some of these pools of water will be seas, some will become clouds, and some of this water will just be water. And the angels asked God and said, it looks like you've cleaned up the place a little bit, but is it finished? And God said, no. On some of the rocks, God placed growing things, and on some of the rocks, God created and placed creeping things, and on some of the rocks, God created things that only God knows what they are. And when God was done with all of that, I don't know what they are either, I just avoid them. And when God was done with all of that, the angel said, is it finished yet? And God said, no. And God created lots of living beings, and then God created man and woman from some of that water and dust and said to them, I'm tired now. Please finish up the world for me. It's almost done. The man and woman said, well, it's too much for us to do. We're just these little people. You have all the plans, and we're too little, and we really don't know what's in God's mind. We don't know what you want us to do with the place. And God said, you're big enough, but I agree to this. If you promise to help finish the world, I promise that I will be your partner. And the man and the woman said, well, what's a partner? God answered and said, a partner is someone you work with on the big things that neither of you can do alone. And if you have a partner, it means that you can never give up because your partner is depending on you. And on the days when you think I'm not doing enough, then on the days you think I'm not doing enough, and on the days I think you're not doing enough, even on those days, especially on those days, we're still partners. And we can't stop finishing what we're doing. We can't stop creating the world, and we have to help each other do this, and we have to hold each other accountable, and that's the deal. And so those two, that man and woman, agreed to that deal, and the angels went to God and said, okay, so you've created all this, and you've created these people that, by the way, that's another story we told you not to. And our question for you, is it finished yet? And God said, I don't know. Go ask my partners. It's a reminder to us, it captures so much of the essence of actually my personal theology. It challenges us to consider our role in the ongoing act of creation, and that work that never ends to create a world that is as it was in what we read in the Torah, that Garden of Eden, that place of perfection, of harmony, where there was enough for everyone, and where there was a harmony that existed. And so we, since that day, have been working to create that, to recapture a sense of that, and we continue to do that. And I think it's a time for us to, in this week when we read Bereshit, it's a time for us to reflect on the idea that that the world might not ever be finished. Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor. It is not our duty to complete the work, but neither are we free to desist from it. Each of us is needed to be able to complete this work, because together, none of us is certainly as great as God, but as human beings, when we work together, there are amazing things that we can do. And that idea of partnership is so important. And so on the Shabbat, when we read about that beginning, when we read about that promise that God and human beings made, that ultimate covenant at the beginning, it seems like a good time to also reflect on that idea of partnership. And it exists in many forms in our world. But one of the most beautiful forms is when we have two human beings who find each other and make that commitment and that covenant to be partners, and to help each other even on those days when they might not feel like doing the job, whatever it might be, and especially on those days when one is not up to it, the other can lift them up. And so it's an honor tonight to invite a bride and groom, Karen Levin and Ryan Pilgermayer, to join me and Kendra Bortnick. And Karen grew up here at Washington Hebrew Congregation. Come on up. Karen grew up here at Washington Hebrew Congregation. In fact, she played guitar right in this very space, teaching our children, and is now a teacher. And she and Ryan have found each other and are making beautiful music together, and are getting married on Sunday, and joined by members of Karen's family. Just trying to. Yep. Yep, right here. Oh, sorry. Just if you'll stand next to each other. Yeah, I was going to do that one. So, Ryan and Karen, we ask God's blessing upon the two of you this evening, just as we will. I'll have that honor and pleasure of doing that on Sunday. But we pray that the sacred commitments that you're going to make on your wedding day will sustain you all the days of your life. We hope and pray that the love that you share will be binding, will be a partnership that will enable you to reach great heights, will enable each of you individually to grow in the ways that each of you hope to and want to with whatever your passions you pursue, but also that you'll lift each other up and celebrate those days when you may have those achievements, those simchas, but also on the days when it's a little harder, that you'll be there to lift each other up that much more. And it's an honor and a pleasure to share this moment with you and to recognize that you're creating a new home, even though you've been in a new home together for some time. We present a mezuzah, which is a way that people will know, just as in that story, that there's a partnership, that as human beings, that you have created a home that will be a place of love, a place that will be open for family and friends to come and to join you, and will be a place where you have a little bit of rest and a refuge from the rest of the world. So we're honored to ask God's blessing on you this evening. And I ask Kendra Bortnick to join me for this, since she has been one of your teachers as well, Karen. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out where that, there we go. way slightly. There we go.
Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and watch over you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's presence shine on you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Shalom.
May God's presence be with you tonight and always. Whether you are in your home or out in the world, may you always find a sense of wholeness and a sense of peace with one another. Amen. Mazel tov.
Amen. Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, Yelanu, 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 Ulecho Yisrael, Yelanu, Yelanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecho Yisrael.
We, in every service, we remind ourselves and each other that we've made this commitment to be God's partners in continuing that act of creation. And so we turn to page 282 to the prayer that reminds us that we're obligated to continue to work to heal the world and to make it whole. We're obligated to remain partners. And so we rise together for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tet gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot adama, shelo stam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kecho hamonam, v'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. We take a moment before our service ends to remember those who have been our partners on life's path in a multitude of ways, those who have taught us, who have been by our side, and whose memories continue to inspire us. And so on this Shabbat, we think of those whose yahrzeit falls at this time: Larry Adler, Yetta Ammerman, Lila Anson, Samuel L. Bariff, Sidney S. Barsman, Esther Baum, Harry Bernholtz, Sheldon E. Bernstein, Marlene Besson, Louis H. Bybin, Lawrence I. Birch, Charles S. Bressler, Aaron Brylowski, Michael H. Cardozo, Abraham Cohen, Deborah Cohen, Irving Cohen, Marion Cohen, Sidney S. Cohen, Esther T. Cohen, Robert G. Decker, Edward Ehrlich, David J. Eisman, Milton Firestone, Fanny G. Fogel, Harriet Freeman, Ilsa Frey, Cantor Roy Garber, Yetta Goodman Gellert, Herbert Gernsbacher, Fanny Green, Gussie Brock Greenberg, May Greenspan, Abraham Haft, Meyer Hanline, Rita Lou Harris, Albert Helfand, Joseph P. Herman, Yetta Herman, Bella Hirsch, Ginny Hyde, Abraham J. Kaplowitz, Tamara Carlin, Edna Katz, Carlton K. Kaufman, Joseph King, Celia Burka Kogod, Louis Kornhauser, Stanley Kupferman, Adele Landau, Saul Lewis, Morris Limmer, Wolf Lipsitz, Beatrice Wolf Lipson, Teresa B. Lewis, Hansi Morbach, Melvin H. Mandel, Craig B. Martis, Charles Michaels, Sally Newmeyer, Rosa Herman Ney, Michael Oppenheimer, Florence Robert Orsman, Sylvia Parquette, Harry Pepper, Robert A. Phillipson, Fania Pinchuk, David R. Pomerantz, Milton Quint, Jack Rosenberg, Milton G. Rosenberg, Ernestine Rosenthal, David Ross, Dorothy Ann Rosette, Anita Rubin, Simon Safran, Edward Scheinerman, Gertrude P. Schenthal, Pauline Schur, Fanny Schoenthal, Emily H. Sellinger, Sarah Schulman, Bernard N. Siegel, Irvin D. Silverman, Thelma Silverman, Joseph Snyder, Mervyn A. Snyder, Jacob Sokol, Norma Ann Stave, Ralph L. Steinhardt, Simon Stern, Charles Taub, David E. Walsh, Harvey Wertlieb, Ruth Wexler, and Marion Gilbert Zallis. And we add to their names the names of those recently laid to rest in the last 30 days: Rory Diamond, Laurel Barron Mendelson, Stephen Menkes, Florence Kahn Allentuck, Joel Marowitz, Betty A. Green, Alice Louise Gritz, Betty Gustorf, Larry Oladapupo, Stephen Grabiner, Faye Reuben Brody, and Joseph Battleman. With all of these names in our hearts, calling others now to mind as well, we rise together as we turn to page 294, and we join together in Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Gadash Shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach Yerusei v'yamlich malchusei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beis Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kari v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam Olmei Almaya. Yibarach v'yishtabach v'yisba'ar v'yisromam v'yisnaseh. V'yishadar v'yisalev v'yisalal Shmei Dekudashah Brichu. Le'ilam in kol berchasa v'shirasa. Tush b'chasa v'nechemasa. Da'amiram b'yalma v'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah min Shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved as we say together, amen. Please be seated. So we want to share a number of announcements. The first being that our first Amram Scholar Series of this season is Sunday at 10:30 a.m. at Temple with author and advocate Letty Cotton Pogrebin. Many of you may know, have heard her name in the past. She is one of the founders of Ms. Magazine and also wrote the book Deborah, Golda, and Me, which came out right around the time I was graduating from college, and talked about being female and Jewish in America. And I will say I see others nodding, it was a transformative and pivotal book and critical book for me at that moment in my life as I was thinking about my future career in the rabbinate. But she'll be with us, so I'm going to be fangirling a little bit on Sunday. She's not talking about that book, but I'm sure it's going to work its way in. She's talking about her newest book, which is a memoir called Shonda. So I invite you to join us on Sunday at 10:30 at Temple. On Monday, I'll be in conversation with Representative Jamie Raskin, which will be a 4 o'clock. It's an Inside the Issues sponsored by our empty nesters at 4 o'clock on Zoom. So we hope you'll join us for both those opportunities. One, you can either join us in person at Temple on Sunday morning, 10:30. You can also join us virtually on Sunday, although we'd love to see you there with her. And Monday is online as we talk about issues around our democracy. And then heads up that Saturday morning activities will be starting 30 minutes later, beginning on November 5th. An early Torah study will be at 8:30. And services will be at 10:30. That's what's on here.
9.
So yes, so Torah study with one of the members of the clergy will begin at 9.
Oh,
The
yes.
pre-reading will begin at 8:30. So you can either read ahead
That's what I
and
get
show
for
up
correcting the rabbi.
at 9, which is when we show up. Or if you want to come earlier at 8:30, you can be there.
You can
to
join Dan.
Yeah. To learn more and register for these and other events, we invite you to please read Life at WHC email each Thursday or look through the journal. Or if you are not yet on the distribution list for Life at WHC, we invite you to go to our website, whctemple.org. And we look forward, if you are here for the first time, we look forward to sharing with you. Please come make sure to say hello. And we'll be joining in an Oneg Shabbat at the end of our service. But before we do that, we are going to join in Kiddush.
We are going to. We have no B'nai Mitzvah here. Well, I mean,
We have future B'nai Mitzvah.
we have future
here.
B'nai Mitzvah. But is there anyone who would like to lead us in Kiddush? Because, everyone can do it. I don't have to be the one to do it. Anyone want to lead us in Kiddush? It's on page 5. Yes.
And we'll all join with you.
And we have extra glasses of grape juice. We were, expecting more kids or hoping for more kids, but we get Ricky. All right.
Ricky brought me up.
And Alan.
So you get to hold the camera.
I want to do that.
Anybody else? We have more grape juice? Anyone?
Long or short?
We want to thank our musicians for being with us. We want to thank Dan and Elisa for ushering and for being here with us this evening.
We got this.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom tehila lemikra'e kodesh, zeher litziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'harta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen.
L'chaim.
So we're drinking from this one if it gets passed on to a child.
Grab one of those. Reuse, recycle.
And we are going to also share in a motzi before we join in the Oneg. And again, we encourage you at Oneg to introduce yourself to someone you might not know yet and make a connection. And
Come on up. All right. And we join together. Ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon.
so we just have to point out this challah as they're walking through with it because we're going to take it back out and then it'll be magically cut up for us to greet us at the Oneg. I feel like this is the perfect challah. It's exactly like the one we had at Tat Shabbat, which is not quite round now that we're past Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, but it's not quite the regular
It's
shape
true.
either.
It's
So
like the
as it
oval
comes
shape of the
through,
plate.
It's just we're easing ourselves out of the new into the new year, easing ourselves into the new year. And thank you. We're delighted that you're here with us, and we look forward to greeting you at our Oneg Shabbat. So.
And our concluding song is Ose Shalom, and we invite you to join us. I'm sure you know the text. I didn't write down the page number, but you'll be fine. Ose Shalom b'romav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Bottom of 294 too.
62. Bingo. Join us at our Oneg Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, you spilled it? It's okay. I knew it was going to happen. It always happens when they